Welcome to QED NG once again. My name is Olumide Inyoda. If you knew anything about the pop scene in Nigeria in the late 80s and early 90s, you will know my guest very well. You would have listened and danced to his songs. That I am sure of. My guest today is Alex O.
Thank you very much. Good to be here. Good to be here. Good to be here.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Do you have an idea how big you were in the 80s and 90s?
Sometimes it crosses my mind that I achieved some milestones then. And other times, you are just having fun, doing what you love doing, and continue to do it and enjoy it. You understand? During that time, most of us went into music because we loved music so much. We had the passion for it. And we knew that, yes, if we continued with what we were doing, we would achieve a whole lot of things. And luckily for us, God was on our side and we were able to achieve, some good level of fame, if you want to call it.
Okay, now let me burst your modesty bubble. In the early 90s,
Okay.
songs like Celebrate,
Okay.
Banana, In the Name of Love, those songs and you...
Oh, you know all of them?
I danced to those songs. I danced to those songs.
Thank you for
everybody.
Thank you
in
for
my
the
time.
support.
I mean, everybody in my circle knew and danced to those songs.
Okay.
Those songs and new names like African Michael Jackson, Bobby Brown, Johnny Gill. The way you danced in Banana and Do It, some people even called you MC Amma.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that as to burst your modesty bubble.
Okay.
That was, and in fact, you posted a video of Banana on Facebook.
Lately.
Yeah,
Yes,
lately.
yes.
And some of the things people said was, I had a serious crush on him back then. I went to his concert in Port Harcourt. People followed you everywhere. Now, but the question they also ask, what happened to Alex O?
Okay, a very long story, but I'll try and cut it as short as possible. My career peaked after all those songs, all those hit songs, and I started thinking, okay, what do I do next? All I wanted to achieve was to get famous, get popular, with music, play good music, get to have people to accept my music, and yeah, all that came by God's grace and through hard work. So I started thinking, what do I do next? Okay, let me make one more album and see what happens next. Because I had already started thinking of traveling, going out there to study, learn how things are done outside Nigeria, and upgrade myself in some ways, prepare for the future. I actually finished an album of about eight songs, yes, and took it to the record company to say, okay, I've got this material.
Which other company?
Well, it used to be Polygram, later Premier Music. So they said, we actually don't have enough resources to put it out. And, the major issue was that the music industry was going through a very challenging phase that time. And part of it was, piracy was coming up strong. A whole lot of things were going on. And the record companies were also encountering their own challenges and stuff. So when they couldn't take that album, I just thought maybe it's time to, to travel, to see what I can do because every musician has a time when the music starts to slow down. Not many people want to watch you perform and all that. So I didn't want all those things I was worried about those. So I needed to find a way to get something. So I traveled out of Nigeria. Went out there, been to so many countries. But one thing I never did was to leave music. I never left music. Throughout the countries I went, throughout everywhere I was always performing, I was always producing, uh, had my studios. Um, the only thing I was not doing was releasing new songs because I didn't have the motivation to release, to have kept releasing new songs. If I wasn't going to be making money from it, you understand. So, but I was performing even when I was studying. My daily job that I was doing was performing in the club, the shows, and then also producing jingles. And so it's always been music. Then I had the opportunity to perform with the American musicians, some of them that worked with Quincy Jones, jazz music. Those guys are serious minded. You understand? So when you perform with them, you learn. So I did all that, and then saw the opportunity to study film production, film animation production. Did all that. Still worked in a couple of other countries, and then decided to come home. And here I am today, now armed with more skills towards recording music, producing, writing, and all that, but also adding the visuals to it. Yes. I've been into the movies. I've done a lot of post-production work for many Nollywood producers, even producers outside Nigeria. And as time went on, the internet started getting bigger, started getting to be more helpful. So like I am here in Nigeria right now, I do a lot of production work for musicians outside Nigeria, Europe, USA, do videos for them as well. So I thank God for the opportunities that came my way, which I took. And I am here, back in the industry, repositioned to move to the next level. Yes.
Okay, thanks. So when you said you traveled, where did you travel to? Because I've seen reports of South Africa, Singapore, USA, London. Where exactly were you?
At first, I went to Singapore. A friend of mine was going to Singapore, and he said, that time I was in Port Harcourt then, and he said, what are you doing? Why don't we travel? Let's travel together so that you can get out there and see what and how, I looked at it and I'm like, okay, and I had a little bit of money on me, So I said, okay, let's go. And we went. That same night, we just dropped our things in the hotel and went to the nightclub. The nightclub in the basement of Hyatt Hotel, Singapore. We went there. Some of the guys who came with us, in the plane, so they said, come, let's go and have some fun. We just came in and, so I said, okay. I didn't take off my clothes, my jacket, and we went to that nightclub. And then while we were there, one of the guys came. He's a white guy. He came. He said, yeah, you told me your brother is a singer, right? Can he go up there and sing with the band? He said, yeah, why not? And it was an American band that was performing. So the moment before I knew what was happening, we hear there's a Nigerian singer in the house. We hear his name. Where is Alex? Alex, can you come up? I'm like, okay, let me go up. I went up there and they asked, what kind of song can you sing with us? So I said, okay, what songs do you play? I've listened to a few. Do you sing Don't Look Any Further by Dennis Edwards? What's the name of Dennis Edwards, right? Yes, of the Temptations. He said, yes, we do. We do play it. The moment they started jamming it, I took the mic and I exploded in the club. It's a very big club. And I'm telling you right now, that same night, I got 4 job offers to come and work in some of the clubs in Singapore as a singer. And I looked at it, I'm like, this is tempting, man. Okay. And I got a job the next day from that single jamming I did in that club. The next day, I got a job to perform as a singer. And a whole lot of other clubs were coming, So I looked at it, I said, but what do? I didn't plan to come and stay. How? And the temptation was there, strong. I said, okay, why not? So what I now did, I had to make another trip back to Nigeria and then return, and that's how I stayed back. So from there, then to other countries, Sweden, everywhere, performing. But my major base was in Singapore. That's where I had my studio. So I started taking time, building my studio, putting everything together. And it was what I was always thinking of doing, get out there, see what's out there, experience how things are done, how music is recorded, how they do what they do out there, you understand? And study. So I looked at it and I said, okay, start. And that was what happened.
Take me back a little bit. How did those songs that I mentioned, how did those songs come about? I know that you worked with Lemmy Jackson, you trained under Steve Rhodes, Uncle Steve Rhodes, and stuff like that.
I think,
but those songs were mind-blowing.
Okay, I think what happened was, first, like I said, once you have the passion to go into whatever you decide to go into, in my own case, music came quite early for me. From primary school, in fact, primary school, I used to play with the local group, play congas, and also it's always been music all along. By the time I got into the secondary school, I used to sneak out of the dormitory by Friday night, straight follow somebody and come to Lagos. During that time of Chris Okotie, Felix Liberty, follow somebody and come to Lagos and see if any record company would sign me on. And so I used to do all that. I used to try. So then I tried a few times. By the time I finished my secondary school, the urge to go into music was really, really very strong. But I needed a little bit of further development. So when I came to Lagos, we tried to submit demo tapes to a couple of EMI, a couple of the companies, EMI, Tabansi, that's what everybody was doing. And it didn't quite work out. So I just told myself, maybe I need more proper training to be able to carry on with the things that I want to do. So I spoke to my friends, two of my friends. His name is Victor Ogude and one other late Ifaye. That time I came to my brother's house. I came to stay with my elder brother in Lawanson. So I told him, I said, I saw this man on TV performing, with his group, and that was Uncle Steve Rhodes, the late Uncle Steve Rhodes. I said, I would like to look at this guy and beg him to help me. And they helped me. We walked from Lawanson to Surulere to Census, Babs Animal Show. That's where Uncle Steve Rhodes' office was. So I went there, we knocked on the door, and they opened. I told him, please, I want to see Uncle Steve Rhodes. The guy that attended to me went and called him. So I waited, and then he came down. So he said, what can I do for you? I said, sir, I want you to show me, teach me. I want to be a singer, I want to be a musician, but I don't know where to start. He looked at me. He said, okay. Can you come back next 2 days? Come so time. And I came. I went back there. Excuse me. And there, that same moment I got there, he started voice training sessions for me on the piano downstairs in his house. And before I knew what was happening, that's how I carried on with Uncle Steve Rhodes until a little over 1 year, learning how to sing. A little over 1 year, he took me to the studio in Abule Jesha. Then we had Richard Cole, we had Jet Nylander, we had Kenneth Okulolo, we had Papado Goldfinger. They were his musicians that were housed in the studio. Abule Jesha is a 3-story building. So he started getting me to rehearse, practice with them. And that's how the journey started. And the very first Olu Aboderin Memorial Show The owner of Punch was my first performance after my trainings with Uncle Steve Rhodes. That was the first time I met Wumi Aboderin and the whole of the children, because they sang that same day during that concert. They sang the Sound of Music theme music for the theme song for Sound of Music. They performed that, and I was like, they're very good. But a lot of the influences I got from Uncle Steve Rhodes were from Gloria Rhodes. I was always watching her because she was good. She and Janet, they were good singers, understand. So I would listen to them, I would watch them, So I started performing. So I looked at it as I wanted to do more than what they were doing. They were not much interested in recording and releasing music, because Uncle Steve Rhodes always thought that the recording industry was not properly set up, was not organized, and how he is. He's a very organized person. He wants to do things in a certain way, and so. But I wanted more than just performing. So I'm like, what do I do next now? Terracotta just released. Tell me if you know the city called Sodom. Okay, I said, who produced this music? He said, Lemmy Jackson. I loved the production. And it was reggae music. I loved the production it didn't sound Nigerian at all. So I'm like, okay, I need to locate Lemmy Jackson. So I went on top of my brother's cushion chairs. I was making a beat and singing, sang, and I recorded everything with the tape. Then I took it to Lemmy Jackson. On that same Babs Animal Show, that's where Twilight Records had their office. I went there to see Lemmy Jackson. So I went in there and saw him. I told him, this is what I want to do. He said, I have a tape. He said, can I listen to the tape? I gave him the tape and he played it. He knew that it was something I was beating on the chair and singing. So he said, so you sing well. Where have you been? Where have you been singing? How come nobody? I told him, I said, I just finished 1 year of voice training by Uncle Steve Rhodes. He said, oh, okay, no wonder. He said that he was to work on a recording, album recording for Gloria Rhodes, but they haven't been ready for it yet, that he's still on standby for it. I said, oh, okay, that's nice. So he said, there's something I'm going to do. I said, I want you to help me to get into Twilight Records. He said, I would rather sign you on my own label. I said, okay, that's good. I agreed. All of a sudden, we did a contract of 3 years. I came back another day with my elder brother, did 3 years contract. And he was not really very much ready to start to release the songs. So I now ended up following him to the studio, because by that particular time, Lemmy was producing every hit in the country. Vietnam, all those songs, and so I started following him to the studio every day that he worked in the studio. So that offered me a chance to learn music production. You know why I'm explaining these things? So that because you asked me how did these songs. So there is a way I went about the things I was doing that enabled me to be able to know how to put songs together. That's why I'm coming here. So I started following Lemmy Jackson to the studio every day, whatever he was doing, backup singing I was doing. Then at some point, I now started arranging the songs of artists that he was producing. Fumi Adams' first album. Remember Fumi Adams? I helped her to work on her vocals, worked on the song. I actually wrote one song as little as I was then. Julie Pip, Save Nigeria Today. Nitori. You know the lady who sang that one?
Ekori.
Now, the Batami Adun Ko. I did all those voices with her, helped to arrange the songs. Some of the reggae artists, I had to take them to JAPEX studios, arrange the songs, get the Amos McCroy, all the musicians, they will come and practice and everything. We would take the music to the studio, we'll take them, all of them, into the recording studio, lay down the tracks, and then Lenny would come afterwards to start to do overdubs and cleanups and all this. So I worked with Lenny Jackson for quite some time. Then at some point, still not forgotten where my focus was. You understand? Because what happens to a lot of people is, along the way, a distraction comes, they drop what it is. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to release songs. I wanted to make hit songs. So I told myself, I said, Lemmy is not ready to release my songs. I have to take the next step now. So I first of all prayed. I told God I was going to record another demo tape. This time that I was going to a recording studio, pay the recording studio and play all the instruments. Remember, I've been learning from Lemmy Jackson. So I went to JAPEX, paid one evening so that the session would run into the night, where I would not have much distractions from people who come to the studio. Anthony Village here. So I was there. I prayed. I said, Father Almighty, when I make this new demo tape, please, I don't want to walk around, my shoe will bend again, looking for who's going to give me a recording deal. How is it going to work out? So I begged God to help me to make sure that it works out this time around. I get accepted. My demo gets accepted. So I was in that studio, Anthony Village here, recording, playing, just putting the songs. And the sound engineer was Ed Jato. Jato was also a singer. He's the owner of Jato FM. You understand? So he was the sound engineer. So we're recording, and then this guy walked in to see him, also a sound engineer, walked in to say hello to him. So he came. And when he came, he was listening to what I was doing, what I was playing, and what I... Okay, they finished. He later left. The guy went to his office the next day. And guess where his office was? He was the sound engineer for Sony Music, then CBS Music. And he told Chief Mrs. Kenji Okunowo that I saw one guy doing something last night at JAPEX Studio. You won't believe it. She said, hey, what sort of... Immediately the guy described everything he heard. KG asked him to go and fetch me. So the guy came to Lemmy Jackson's house and saw me there. He said, I'm coming from my office right now. They said I should come and call you. I said, okay. Okay, let me go. So I went straight to CBS then. And she said, can I see the tape of what you were recording yesterday? I brought the tape and she played all of them. Played all the songs and loved all the songs, liked all the songs. I said, but I am under Lemmy Jackson, signed under Lemmy Jackson. We've done 2 years. We haven't recorded yet. It remains 1 more year. He said, can you go and call Lemmy? So I went, called Lemmy, said, this is what's going on. So Lemmy came. They went in to a meeting, they talked, went blah, 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 and everything. They couldn't make a deal. She felt Lemmy wanted more than, you understand? So Lemmy now said, oh, okay. Then in that case, let me go to Polygram. I'm sure they'll be interested. So the gap opened there. Lemmy went to Polygram and they accepted it straight. So they now called me and said, okay, come. You have a deal here. So first of all, God answered my prayers. You understand? By not letting me walk all over the place looking for who's going to accept all the, after being rejected by all the, you understand. To answer your other question, how the songs were coming, apart from the fact that I have been, trying to get the music thing going, the urge to do it well. Why can't our musicians sound like the foreign ones who we play? Because the people in the radio stations were always playing Michael Jackson and Billy Ocean and all those, you understand? I wanted my music to be played alongside those people. First, I was lucky to have been brought up by my eldest sister and the husband who studied in London. So they came back. So speaking English correctly was the order of the day. So before I even went to the secondary school, I was already speaking English because I was learning from them. So that's how I was able to get the words. That's how I was able to know how to pronounce. That's how I was able to know how to express myself in English. You understand? Sounding like them who were teaching me. So it was a whole lot easier then. So we now started with a polygram, and the first album was good, was okay, but not as powerful as I wanted it to be. If you remember, She's So Pretty, yes. And also, you might want to ask, why pop? Why? First, my upbringing through Uncle Steve Rose, Lemmy Jackson have always been the pop. That's one. Two, the radio stations, when they wanted to play Nigerian songs, they play music. There's this programs, one of these programs, Music Nigeriana. And you had all the presenters, that's where they play Nigerian music. Everything else was Shalama, Dynasty, Michael Jackson, you understand. And I wanted my music to be played on radio. I said, and then I also looked, because that time in Nigeria, it was all reggae. I didn't quite fit into that whole Rasta, you understand. So I'm like, well, I can do this. So I said, it has to work. So we continued. My first album, people liked it, but one thing was lacking. People liked the songs. In fact, there was a guy I met in Port Harcourt who told me that he told the brother to look for Alex O's record in the US and buy and send to him. So the guy went and checked around, and it was told Alex O is Nigerian. So his name is Francis, one of the top oil company CEOs in Port Harcourt then. He said, I didn't know. That was after we now met. So now that was one of the reasons why my music sounded a bit pop and foreign, and so we continued. So I needed it to be more danceable. My first album, good songs, good, but it didn't have that killer thing that would drag you to the dance floor to dance. If you remember that time, I'll be good to you, good. You remember all those? I needed
Jones.
Yes, I needed my song, all those Bobby Brown, all those songs. I needed my songs to be as danceable for the DJs to mix them into the other songs that they're playing. So I needed to craft it. Now I just figured out. Now I told Lemmy Jackson, I said, my second album is coming again. I think you should allow me to put down the whole things I want to do. Then you can come and embellish. And that's what I did. A couple of other things came into place. Dindisi just finished promoting Shino Peters for CBS. And Polygram just bought him over. And he came in, and it was my work that he found on his table. And he said, this is a guy I was planning to work with in CBS. But somehow it didn't work out. But I'm here now. So he took it upon himself to push. By the time I finished, so I just, before getting to the promo, I went straight to the recording studio with, now, that guy who went to tell CBS has now had, at that particular moment, now become my manager. He's late now. You understand? He now became my manager. He was now managing my affairs, music here and there, shows, everything. And that visit to that studio that night is what unlocked my career eventually. So we now continue to work, together. Um, he was now looking like he was now more like an elder brother to me. And he was controlling all of us, me, including the musicians that were in my band, because we were all young. And if we didn't have such level of control, somebody control, we might kill ourselves because we were all so young. You can imagine where you had Sammy Okposo, the late Sammy Okposo was the lead keyboardist. Quincy was the second keyboardist. Yinka Davis was one of the singers. You have Big Teddy. You have all the big musicians that started from that band. So we could, wherever we went, we toured, played everywhere in Nigeria. Toured Port Harcourt, Jos, Kano, Maiduguri, everywhere. That's after the second outing came up. So, but before the shows came, before all this whole movements came, we finished the recording, took it to premiere. Dindisi approved everybody. They said, oh, we like it. We're like, okay, we're going to promote now. Dindisi took me in his car with his driver, and we drove from Lagos straight to Benin, radio station, TV station, newspaper houses, nightclub, straight to Onitsha, the same runs, circulating the materials and everything, putting all the songs, giving them all the songs, the radio station, to Enugu, from Enugu to Calabar, from Calabar to the whole of the South. That's how we started coming back. Came to Warri, came to Owerri, Aba, circulated everything within 1 week. And within 2 months, we were notified that we had sold about 80,000 copies. So Dean told me, you see. So he also needed to prove a point that he knows how to do the magic. You know, the way Shina Peters was promoted, Shina Peters was not promoted as a juju artist. They came up with a different, he was more like a pop artist. And that was why, that is it, what's the
Ace.
name? Ace. You saw how far Ace went?
Yeah.
Even in the East, people who didn't understand what he was saying, everybody was on it. So Dindisi did the same magic with the maxi single when it was released. So as that one continued going, he said, okay, you need to do the full album. Then I had to go again and now did Do It in the Name of Love. So at the end of the day, it started happening. People started, paying attention to the songs. People loved the songs. The radio stations started playing. They would play, I'll be good to you, good to you, good to you. I'll be la 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 la. They were mixing, and that's what I wanted. So God was on my side too, and we were able to get.
Were you making money then?
That's the big question. That wasn't.
You were making money?
That wasn't much money. We were just barely getting by. And whatever we were making, we were still putting it back. You understand? Plowing it back, going, paying for promo, paying, making expenses so that you move forward.
I asked this question about making money because you see, people now, we still look with some kind of fondness to those days when Nigerians say to you, when Nigeria had proper record companies, people talk about Sony Music, CBS, Premier Music, Polygram, and EMI, and all of that. Because by the time others came along, when piracy had taken over and all those big companies had left, then we had to resort to piracy. I don't know if you ever heard of names like Big Boss Jigama and DJ Kev D and all of those people. Those were the ones selling stuff like that. But people will say that, look, the record labels that came later, the independent record labels like Kenny's Music and others, that they didn't have the structure of Sony and all of that. But this is you. You are perhaps one of the biggest artists that ever came out of Nigerians that ever came out in that time. And you are telling me you didn't make money.
Yes. We made a little bit of money to get by, take care of expenses, take care of family, take care of. But we were basically making money from the shows we were playing, not much from the record sales. Not much from the record sales. And I wasn't the only one. If you know the history of music marketing, even now, artists are being ripped off. You understand? I can understand that these days it costs more to promote, it costs more to, but at the end of the day, the structure of record companies are that the structure is that they are not fair. Do you understand? The record companies we were working with, they had their own issues too, and they would tell you, are you talking about the ones the pirates sold or the ones we sold? You understand? We didn't make much. We didn't make much, and I wasn't the only one. But we had shows that were coming, even shows that time were a bit risky. If the promoter doesn't pay you in front or up front, you may not see the rest of your money. That's one. Two, if you decide to put up your own gigs like the artists of these days do, you're worried about the possibility of it raining. If it rains, nobody's going to come out. Unlike these days they sell their tickets ahead of the day of the show. So if you don't want to come, your money is already in his bag. You understand? We didn't really make much money that time because most of the times there were no monies to be made. The record companies, like I said, there was this unfairness from their side. To them, it's like, okay, we have helped you to build a name. Why should you bother? A distributor in Aba, one distributor in Aba called Levi, once told me that maxi single that had Celebrate, Wadama, My Light, and all those, that he sold over 550,000 copies, him alone. When you come to the record company, say, oh, can you go to the sales department? And they say, we're not selling much. So that was big problem with being unfair to the artists. You understand? It still happens till today, but they're a bit more transparent these days than during our time. You have a deal with a record company. They own the machines that manufacture the cassettes, the records. They own the store. The employees are the people who are in the factories and work for them. And the only thing they can give to you is the figures they want to give to you. You understand? But one thing, that we had going, which nobody could take away from us, were the shows. You understand? The shows, we were playing the shows, and people were calling us. Worry, I can't count how many times I went to Port Harcourt, Worry, Benin, Were, Jos, even Enugu to perform. At least those were coming. And we also, within all that time, we also had these musicians you must take care of. You must take care of the musicians, So, and I also checked all that because I looked at it. How long am I going to continue to do this? You understand? And then the shows, at a certain point, people are not going to be calling you for shows because new artists will come up. So I thought all these things, and that was one of the reasons why I had to leave.
Who were the new artists that you saw coming then while you were?
Two-Face and the Plantation Boys. They were still trying to come. It was when I was outside, then their music started getting popular that I started hearing about him. Daddy Shoki was also still coming up. Daddy Shoki used to come and perform with, I think, two other boys. They used to come with the congas and perform in between shows. Who else again? Yeah, I can't remember. But I can tell you that it wasn't only me that traveled. Michael Cree also traveled. Alexito traveled. Ras Kimono traveled. You understand? And when all of us traveled, people were telling me that it was beginning to look like there were no more musicians in Nigeria. That was now before, these are P Square them and these other guys started coming up.
Because it looked as if, just like you said, it looked as if traveling out of the country then was a rite of passage for people of your time. Either you were doing reggae, either you were Majek Fashek, the Mandators, Ras Kimono, or you were doing pop like Michael Cree. Everybody at a point left.
Traveled.
Now,
yes.
Let me even put it in context. What year did you leave? Which year?
I left Nigeria in 1998.
98?
Yes, 1998. Yes, that was when I left.
So it was something that you really, really needed to do at that point.
I wanted to do that. I wanted to travel. But I hadn't made up my mind where to go. I wanted to experience what life is for musicians outside Nigeria. And also, the other point also is, that time, the internet, there was no internet, you couldn't. I actually remember at some point writing letters that was before writing letters to A&M Records, Interscope, a whole lot of them. You pick their names on the back of our album sleeves with their addresses, and you send a letter to them, tell them this. And a few of them contacted me. Well, communication was difficult. So when it was time for me, I said, okay, why not? Let me travel. Take a chance. Go. See what happens. You understand? And one thing that happened those days that one major issue those days, there were only, I think, 4 or 5 record companies, around 4 or 5. So you can imagine the number of people, thousands of people who were trying to get through that door. So you needed God to be on your side. And some of them were so good too. I remember people like Manny Eke, the late JT Tom West. I remember Shola Majid. These were singers, you know what I mean? People who could sing, but not many. Shola just released a gospel album lately. Beautiful. She still sings well.
Some of these people work with you. You work with Zubi too? Did you work with Zubi?
No, Zubi was with Onyeka.
Okay.
Yes.
What about Manny Eke?
Manny Eke was in our band.
It was in your book. You
Same
mentioned Manny Eke.
with Sammy Okposo, Yinka Davis.
Okay, now mentioning Yinka Davis, what about other backup singers and dancers that you remember?
Yes.
Which others can you remember?
Yes, Margaret was there. Louisa Igwa was there. Nelson Brown was there.
Nelson Brown,
yes, the
voice.
producer. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Some of them came, some of them left, some got replaced, some continued. I also worked with Mr. Way. I also worked with, but the core of the band that we were together for quite a while, Sammy Okposo, Big Teddy, Teddy Fretless, Yinka Davis, who again? I have to remember.
Tell me what your typical concert was like back in those days.
Okay. From my background, after my trainings and all that, I was taught to rehearse properly, prepare yourself before you go to perform at a show. That is the only way you can build and boost your confidence and face the crowd. You understand? A lot of people used to think that I would drink something or smoke something before going.
Did you?
Of course not.
You never drank in
Of course not. In between, like, let me give you an example. After the show is finished, I can have a beer, I can have a drink with my friends and the band, whatever. There was this particular big show in Port Harcourt that I had, and 2 journalists from Lagos that were in Port Harcourt. So they came to that show. They said, we have to be around you, your room, your manager, before. It's a lady and a guy. So we said, okay, because I knew them from Lagos. Oh yeah, come. Came straight to our room upstairs. I usually request for a suite or 2 rooms that are close to each other. So me, myself, my manager, and one other guy that's an assistant, more like, you understand? The three of us always stay in one room, and then we use the other room for meetings with the press or whatever. So that the Ike helped me a lot because I would have had a lot of distractions. The women, the whatever it was. So when you come, you want to see us, you see the three of us. So if you had any other plans or whatever it is, other things you want, you go talk up there now. So we go know what you understand. Because we were all young and we needed somebody to help coordinate all of us. And Ike did a perfect job. He helped. So I didn't have to stray, get distracted. So these two journalists, they came with us up to the room. We were all there. Then somebody came and said, okay, you're coming on now. You're about to come down. They're coming to fetch you so that you go to the stage. I said, okay. So the people came up and we all went down. So the moment the band was playing, I jumped on stage, everybody performed the songs, finished performing, came back to the room. They also came. So we thought we were watching whether you were going to sip something or smoke something, or I said, no. If I drink beer before going on stage, it can affect my voice. So I stay away from all those. You understand? Stay away from, and I wasn't smoking. A few times I tried to smoke, my body no take them. You understand? So they said, I don't take, but now we finished the job. We can drink a beer or two. We can have our drinks, So that's how it always worked for me.
Whose idea was Jericho and the sequence? And
oh my God! There we go again.
Whose idea? I'm interested in that Jericho.
Okay. What happened was, at the point when I was introduced to Polygram by Lemmy, after they arranged the deal and it was to work, and so the marketing manager and who again, they came, they say, but the way he's looking like a second-hand clothes seller. How are we going to sell this person? Why he has to? So now they said, okay, he has to make his hair, make costume. So they took me to Just Meg Ikeja. Just Meg, salon Ikeja. They make clothes, they make hair, they make all these things. So they started, that's how the Jerry Coil thing started. Okay, it looks good. Okay, fine, let's go. So I continued until the thing now grew so long that at some point I'm like, I can't keep wearing this hair. I can't, because everywhere I go now, I will not be like, it's like the ones who wear Rasta. You go into the bank, they will look at you and you're not well dressed. You don't understand why. So I continued with it. At some point, I had to cut the hair, but it was a disaster because I went to a show in Port Harcourt Civic Center, at the Civic Center in Port Harcourt, to perform. Yeah, pronounced my name to come on stage, and I came on stage and they say, which type of artist? Oh, is this one? Because they always did that thing. They bring somebody, they advertise somebody else, then the person doesn't show up. You understand? Some of those promoters that were fraudulent and all that. So when they said it wasn't me.
Because you didn't have your Jericho.
Yeah, because the hair wasn't there. Before we knew what was happening, bottles started flying all over the whole place. So I told Teddy, okay, let's start playing. So we started playing Celebrate. And okay. That's his voice. Okay. So everybody they come down small. We did that, then we started playing Do It in the Name of Love. They said, and I said, stop. I told them, I said, I cut my hair because I want to change to a different, So they said, well, why you cut the hair? The hair is part of what we have come here to see. Why do you have to? So it was they broke a whole lot of things that night. Then I now kept the hair back, grew it back, and left it until I left Nigeria. The moment I got to Singapore, I said, cut this hair. Tired of it.
Do people who knew you back then still ask for the hair?
Yes, they do. But right now, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do. But sometimes I tell them, I say, sorry, the hair had to go. You know, there's only one thing that's constant in life, and that's change. So as you grow older, so yeah, I had to get rid of the hair.
Okay, so
I mean, at that particular time, you know, you needed to look as fashionable as possible. It was part of what was required to be able to promote, sell you, you know, all that whole image and stuff, you know.
who has the rights to your music now? Because I see your videos on YouTube. I see all of them uploaded by different names and different people. I think the only one that I saw one uploaded by Polygram. I don't know whether that is, I think that is Do It. I don't, Banana, I don't know. So who has the rights to your stuff now?
Okay, it's been a controversial one. As far as I'm concerned, the contracts we signed don't expire. You understand? Many years ago. But Premier Music is insisting that they still own. You understand? It's in the news that Oris Wilike took them to court last year and got a judgment for them to pay him 50 million and release all his works to him because they belong to him. You understand? And a whole lot of things, a whole lot of conditions. Now they're deciding to appeal. They are talking with us to see whether there can be a rearrangement, some kind of new agreement that will be fair to everybody or whatever it is. Because I also looked at it. They stand in the forefront of being able to popularize market, because it's a recording company, to help earn money with the materials. The only problem is, will it still be the same old arrangements if I decide? I mean, if I have my materials now and somebody wants to come and acquire, wants to buy it, and I want to get as much as possible. And if they are a record company that was formerly Polygram, that means they still have their international access to international markets and all that. So if anybody can bring a deal, why not? But when you now claim that, oh, it belongs to you, it doesn't belong to this person, after the number of years that was stipulated have passed, you understand? Then it's a war to fight. But we're in talks with them right now, you know, to see what goes on and how everything can be rearranged.
You have new songs like Munachi, Take a Break, and Shine Like a Star.
In
fact, that your Shine Like a Star, I watched it on YouTube. It has over 1 million views. Starring Prince Amaro. Yeah, it has over 1 million views. That's why I asked that question of who has the copyright. Because if you have a song that has 1.2 million views on YouTube, that is money sitting somewhere.
Yes,
now,
I agree.
Are you thinking, you are here now, you've been back, and people like us know you. The young ones too can still be introduced to you. Are you thinking of remixing or doing some of this your old music to appeal to younger generation?
Yes, that's what triggered this whole conversations that we're having with them right now. Because even the fans have been saying, why can't you remix? There's been a lot of requests from all corners to remix the songs, you understand? And I want the copyright thing to be cleared so that I know, okay, they're now to me as an artist. These are my songs. Then I can do whatever it is that I want to do with them. And then if they want to join me I'm open for business, wherever the money can come from, why not? But the songs, since I came back, the songs I have, they belong to me. You understand? And I've actually written, while the years that I wasn't releasing songs, I've written close to 200 songs that I have. So when I start my record label, I'm going to have a lot of materials to play with the new artists. You understand? And I write, and I'm one of those who are lucky. When you bring a keyboard right now and ask me within 1 hour, I'll get a new material. If I play a keyboard 30 minutes, 1 hour, I get a new material. So I now decide how to arrange it, the words to put in, and how, you understand? So I've never had any issues when it comes to writing songs.
I can't find your songs on Apple Music. Why? Is it because of this still copywriting?
Yes, because
still
they are
not
the
doing?
one who claim that they have the right to upload them and they are not doing what they're supposed to do. You understand? So these are some of the things. The moment this whole new arrangement we're working on is all sorted, it's either we have a new working arrangement where everybody is fair to each other, or we can head to court. You understand? But something has to give. Something has to happen.
So your songs are not on any streaming platform right now?
They are. If you Google Premier Music, is uploaded a couple of them. Yeah, they are. They are actually.
Okay.
The banana video, I'm actually going to clean up the other ones. Let me also say, the lady that was in the banana video that was dancing with me is a lady called Toyin Balogun. Toyin Balogun, I don't know whether she's still with Glow. She's based in Dubai. So she's always loved that video. So she kept putting pressure on me every day, saying, where is this video? People are asking when I tell them I used to model when I was younger. Why can't you put this video? Where can you? So we looked for the video, located the video. I had to clean it up a little bit because it tips. You know how it tape now, and then put it up, clean the music a little bit. And then it was Kingsley Ogoro that produced that video. So Kingsley Ogoro, it was during the same time he was doing Blackie, producing Blackie. So he produced that video and he contacted them to. So now I'm beginning to see, people love that video. So I'm going to now look for the other ones and then clean them up and put up again, because I noticed my followers increased, the likes and comments continued increasing. So I'm like, okay, the people haven't forgotten me. Okay, that would be good. And after a while, we now sort out these whole things about remixing the the old songs, and then putting them up as well. Because the songs are good songs. And once they've made a hit in the past, they will always make it, as long as you produce them properly, arrange them properly. People will always pay attention to them.
So thank you very much. You made the 90s very fun for a lot of us. There was no party, and like you said, there was no party back then that you wouldn't hear celebrate.
Yeah.
You will even hear the rap about the woman that you. How does that rap go against her?
Make we take some time to bubble and shuffle. During that time, there was one thing that was in vogue. These days, you know what the young girls are, whatever catches their attention, wherever they can get the money from, whatever they can tell somebody who's got money so that the money can come out and all sorts of things. During that time, a lot of the young girls were actually celebrating their birthdays, sometimes 2-3 times within 1 year. So, and all they needed to do was, they catch one money bag, they say, my birthday is coming up. Even if she just celebrated 1-2 months ago. So I wanted to say something, after recording the song, singing and everything, I wanted to say something funny on top of the song. And I thought, what do I put here? Okay, the birthday song. Yes, the girls from Unilag, they used to do these things. It's okay, so I put it down. Make we take some time to bubble and shuffle after all the hustle and bustle. Everybody wants to celebrate, but nobody wants talk in age. If you just go ask a Lagos mama, say, how many years should they celebrate? She go holler and shout back at you. Now, waiting be your business. I fit celebrate 21 today, be say, the last time now 22. The next one fit be 20. So just bubble and shuffle and forget about my age.
La 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 la.
And it caught on like wildfire. Everybody, because it was what was happening then. So people now, so everywhere I go and people say, sing a song for us, they will start even rapping people still remember. And that was the first time Pidgin rap was actually put into a song. People used to just talk. They were saying, why don't you bring the rap people who rap, the artists who rap, bring, where is this person who rap, so that they can say, no, I just want to say something on the rhythm onto the rhythm of this song. And that's what I did. And it worked. During that time, you were just doing whatever felt okay for you to do. All the same, we were also watching, and me in particular, I was also watching what the family might say if they don't like what I do or say. So that also helped to keep me in check so I don't get out of line, because I came from a family where I had to make a promise for them to allow me to go into music. Because during that time, music was all about smoking, drinking, womanizing, and all that. I said, no, I'm not going to do things that way. And I lived through to that, you understand? And I thank God that I was able to, so the music, the song started coming, I remember my very first show in Owerri. My eldest sister, I just went, Golden Guinea Breweries sponsored that show. So I went and brought her. She came and sat on the stage, and everybody was coming, greeting her, I said, yes, this is the woman that brought me up. This is the woman that taught me everything that I ended up getting to know. And she was so happy. She was, understand, there are thousands of people, and then there she was, and people were just, that was my first show. And the whole of that area, the whole of Owerri, stopped. No car would move. No car moved. Everybody had to trek from wherever they are. It was one of those very big shows. And then Port Harcourt as well. When I'm in Port Harcourt playing, people come from Owerri, come from Oba. Lagos, yes. Most of the shows in Lagos, Lekki Song Splash, and some were corporate shows. You perform for some of the banks and but most of the shows came from Warri, Port Harcourt, Owerri, Aba, Jos in particular. In Jos, I would be on stage performing. How do we do? The whole place is filled up. There were more people outside. They say, please, can we beg you to perform one more day? Do you have something to do on Sunday? If you don't have, please perform one more day. Okay, let's go. They paid money. As we were performing, the crowd also came again. There were still more people outside. So we thank God for, the blessings that came through. We thank God for all that He was able to do for us. Because without Him, it wouldn't have been possible at all. Because it was too much of work to do. There were no telephones. You get into the car and drive straight to Port Harcourt to speak to a show promoter or somebody. You reach there. As you're reaching there, you say, oh, he just left this morning to Lagos. He said he was coming to see you. Life was dumb at that time. No telephones, no nothing. You just keep going, believing in God that He will make something happen positively for you.
And positive things did happen.
So when somebody says it's not sure whether God answers prayers, I tell them God answers prayers.